What's happening, guys? It's your boy Nick Chae, back at it again. Sorry it's been a little while since I've been posting. That study grind has been kicking my butt lately. But today I thought I'd talk to you guys about how to afford college, what you can do to get some funds to help you save up and really attend that school you've been dreaming of, but you can't really afford it, and some ways to negotiate financial aid and see if you can appeal for more. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Alright, so undoubtedly college is expensive. No matter what university you're going to, you're going to be paying thousands of dollars for 4 years, especially if you're thinking about going to grad school and PhD. There's a lot of factors to consider. There's in-state, out-of-state tuition, private, public universities. So depending on what schools you applied to and got accepted, what I personally did was make a pros and cons list listing all the pros and all the cons of each university, how much financial aid they're willing to give me, whether I'm getting scholarships, whether it's a full ride, whether it's a partial scholarship, and then combine those factors with the location, the specific major you're looking at, what kind of extracurriculars and programs it has, and really figure out whether or not that school is worth the money or not. At the end of the day, it's the best bang for your buck. You have to figure out what college is going to provide the most benefit for the amount of dollars you're paying. It would be a complete waste of money to spend $70,000 to go to NYU if it's not the best program or if it's not what you're intending to do with your life. So don't just jump right into your top school. Like, really look at how much it's costing, the tuition, the books, the room and board, because that stuff starts to add up. And eventually, if you're not on financial aid, it can get even more expensive. So that kind of leads me to my next point, is definitely like 100%, this is a decision that you have to be making with your parents and your family, whoever is going to be paying for it, because I know for a fact that most of you guys won't be paying for your own tuition. No matter what school you're going to, there's just no way as a student you could afford thousands of dollars to pay for that. That being said, there are ways that you can help finance your own education, which I'll get into a little bit later. But the first and foremost step is sitting down with your parents and just really telling them, guys, NYU is my dream school. I know it's a lot of money, but I really think that it's going to be worth it, and that after my 4 years, I'll be able to pay it back and reap the rewards of what that education has done for me. Now, depending on whatever school it is that you're looking at, you know, the cost is going to be different and everything, but pretty personal to me because my mom was single for a while, and it was really hard for me to put that burden on her of asking her to pay $70,000 for 4 years, plus just other expenses totaling to about $300,000. That's just so much debt to be in, and worrying about student loans, especially after you've graduated. It's just a lot of pressure that I didn't want to deal with, and luckily Princeton and a lot of the Ivy Leagues and the schools that I applied to did give me such generous financial aid. Except Berkeley, they gave me like $3,000, so screw you, UC Berkeley. Okay, my next tip is look into external scholarships. I don't think enough students realize how much money is out there that you just have to put in the work and go find. Like, there are organizations and huge corporations that give out thousands of dollars of scholarships for students who write a couple essays, put in an application, do an interview. It's literally out there. People just have to go and find them and apply for it. Like, yes, it's tedious, yes, it's a lot of work, but if that's going to save you thousands of dollars, then you should be putting in that work to get those scholarships. And it's not hard at all. If you do a Google search for college scholarship for Asian male or college scholarships for black athletes, like, there's so many organizations all around the country that have funds set aside, because it's also a philanthropic part of their organization to provide funding for that. So personally, I got a ton of scholarship from the Korean American Society in Dallas. They gave me like $1,000 scholarship just for writing an application. And the thing is, since there's so few people that apply for these, it's not that competitive if you're looking at some smaller local organizations that set funding aside. Look into your churches. Like, my church definitely had a lot of scholarship programs that I applied for, and some of them you win, some of them you don't. But either way, you're making money, which can then be used to finance travel expenses or books or anything else. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to receive different kinds of scholarships, like I mentioned. There's a National Merit one, which would have given me a full ride to Oklahoma University with 5 years of education, plus like thousands of dollars of stipends to cover technology and books. So if that's an option for you, definitely consider that. Other scholarships that I received like the senior scholarship through my band program, which was $500, which is super clutch. It was just an application writing about your experiences in band. I got one through my church, like I said. And so yeah, there's just a bunch of money out there. You just have to go in and look for it. Okay, next thing is appeal for more financial aid. I think this is a huge secret that not a lot of people utilize, and it was something that I didn't realize until I did, and then it worked, is that even your universities have more money. So let's say hypothetically, like, okay, like my scenario, let's say I got into Vanderbilt and Northwestern. Let's say Northwestern is giving me, let's just say $30,000 of scholarship, and Vanderbilt's only giving me $15,000. But Vanderbilt really wants you. So then what you do is you email them, hey guys, I really debating between my two schools here. Northwestern, however, is giving me much more money to go to their school compared to you. Is there any way that my financial aid package could be re-evaluated? You just put it like that, then you're giving them an ultimatum of, do we really want this kid? And if they do, then they're gonna give you a lot more money to come to their school. Does that kind of make sense? Like, you have to be very methodical and business minded on how you write out these emails and how you almost wager. These schools compete against one another, because obviously if you're a well-rounded student who got into all these great schools, like, schools should be competing to have you, and therefore it should be giving you more money to go to that school. Another huge thing is just get a job. It sounds so simple, but so many people just sit at home, watch Netflix, and don't do anything with that time. $8 an hour minimum wage job at your local grocery store, if you put in the hours over the summer, that could definitely add up to a couple thousand, and by the time you're at school, that's just side money and safety money. It's almost like reinforcements for when your graduation money starts to run out or your summer savings starts to run out. You have this pocket of funds that you can reach into every time you want to go out to eat or go to a movies or do something fun. Because especially in college, you have other shit to pay for. You gotta pay for textbooks, which are super expensive. You gotta pay for dorm supplies, which can add up. There's just a lot of expenses besides your tuition and your room and board that are gonna be personal expenses. Like, you wanna go get bubble tea, then you're gonna need money to do that. And if you don't work and save up, then there's no way you're gonna be able to afford that. Personally, what I did was, obviously I'm a photographer, meaning that I can charge a lot more. So the summer before I left, I was scheduling appointments non-stop. Like, there were times where I was at my photo shoot locations for 3 to 4 hours a day, just boom, 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 knocking out the sessions, and I was charging like $150, $200. I would say I made probably at least like $2,000 over the course of June, July, August, which is a lot of money to be made for taking pictures and doing something I love. So even if that's not your specific field, find something that you're passionate about, whether it's tutoring or lawn mowing or whatever it is. Like, find a way to turn that passion into a business model and become an entrepreneur. I say this a bunch, but like, being an entrepreneur is the best thing ever, because you set your own hours, you do what you love, and you make fat bank off of it. Not enough people realize that if you find a market and a niche and a need for your specific skills, there are people that are going to buy that skill, because as a student you'll be able to do it a lot cheaper and probably a lot more efficient and better than what everyone else is doing. What I found in the photography community around my Dallas-Fort Worth area was that people were charging $500, $600 for these sessions just to take the photos, and then maybe like $200, $300 more to edit them, another couple hundred to print them for grad cards. Like, that was such an absurd amount of money to be spending for pictures that I found a way. I'm like, hey, I'm good enough, if not better than some of these moms who are doing this photography. Like, I'm gonna go in this market, I'm gonna capitalize on it and get all my friends to hire me to do their pictures and charge them such a lower rate. So yeah, long story short, just being an entrepreneur is just such an easy way to make a lot of money in a short amount of time doing something you love. On top of that, look into your university's work study program. I know that a lot of schools have specific jobs set aside, whether it's working at the front desk or working in the library or in the cafeteria for a couple hours a week, so that you get an hourly wage, but then that sum is subtracted from your net tuition. So essentially you're working, but you're getting paid for it, which is removing the funds off of your tuition. So work while you study, essentially work study. And kind of lastly, if all else fails, this is my last resort recommendation. Like, I don't like talking about it because it's such a tricky subject, but student loans, like, yes, let's say you want to go to UC Berkeley or Northwestern or Vanderbilt, which are costing $60 to $70, almost $80,000 if you account for transportation and living costs in New York. Like, that stuff starts to add up, right? If that school is really that important to you and you can't imagine yourself anywhere else, then if student loans are necessary, then you have to do what you have to do. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if you think that the returns on your investment of a 4-year college education at that specific university will in turn pay off that initial investment, and you'll be able to pay off your student loans after you graduate, then that might be the right decision for you. Personally, I can't speak for anyone, which is why I don't want to talk too much about this. Luckily, I haven't had to take out any student loans because Princeton University has the best financial aid in the Ivy League, which is super clutch. I'm super grateful for that. If that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do. There's no one or anything that makes it better or can help alleviate that, but an option to consider. Like I said, at the end of the day, college is expensive no matter where you go. It's not just your tuition that you're paying for. It's not just your room and board. Obviously, this isn't just a decision to make by yourself, but talking with your family and whoever's going to be funding your education.